Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Your Mental. My name is Ariel. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and we are back with another video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about outgrowing people. I know this is a big thing for people. I see it a lot, especially with people my age as we start to get older. A lot of people are starting to see that the friendships that they developed when they were younger or in certain stages of their life have now not been the same as they were before, and people are starting to realize that they are outgrowing the people that they were friends with before, and that can be a very hard pill for some people to swallow. So I just want people to understand that, again, this is another stage of life. These are things that not just you, everyone goes through, and it can be very hard and it can be challenging, but we have to understand too that just because we're letting go of these friendships doesn't mean that we won't build other friendships, or these friendships that we have doesn't mean that they will completely leave our lives. They might just change into different things that they were before, but it's also just getting comfortable with the fact that things are changing, and that's okay, and understanding that these friendships were here for a reason, and just because we outgrow these people doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It's a lot of self-discovery, a lot of things that we have to do internally with ourselves, and we just have to get comfortable with the fact that sometimes you just outgrow people and you outgrow friendships, right? Let's get into today's topic. So when it comes to outgrowing people, right, it's perfectly okay to outgrow people, right? As you get older and things happen in life, you change as a person. You are not the same person that you were when you were in middle school, when you were in high school, when you were in college, and so on and so forth. So with those changes also come the changes of the people around you. When you go from just middle school to high school, your thinking starts changing, and a lot of the things that you interact with, you don't want to anymore. Same thing happens when you go from high school to college. A lot of the people that you were friends with in high school, sometimes the friendships grow apart because you guys end up in different schools, you're not communicating as much, or if you do end up going to the same place, a lot of times you guys don't have the same interests. And I think it's hard for people to accept that because it's something that they're used to, they're comfortable with. Having these friendships and the people that they grew up with around them for so long is a comfort thing. And when these things change, it's hard for people to realize that. And sometimes the hard part is just realizing that this thing is actually happening, and accepting the fact that this friend that I used to know is not the same, or me as a person, I'm growing, and the person that they are not the people that I still want to be around. And that's okay, right? Like I said, it's part of your journey. These things happen. One of the hardest realizations is having to accept the fact that it's not all friendships that last a lifetime, right? We get new jobs, we change area codes, people get married, life will get in the way, and other priorities will change, and people will slowly but surely start to fade away from certain people. Everybody goes through life differently, and I think that people tend to forget that when you're in middle school, high school, and sometimes even college, you have to be there, right? As a middle school and a high school kid, you're there because school is part of your life. That is your main priority. That is you growing up to be a young adult, an adult, and the people that you're around have to be there too. So you're around these people all the time. Those are the people that you have to make friends with. When you start to grow up and you start to become an adult, you start to move towards the direction of your interests. And sometimes the people that we were friends with in high school don't have the same interests as us. So they start to move towards certain things, and your priorities start changing, and the things that you're interested start changing. And a lot of the times the people that we aligned with before don't have the same interests as us. And that's usually where we tend to see that friendships grow apart. Even with the thing that I mentioned of getting married, sometimes when you get to the college phase, a lot of your friends start finding the people that they want to be with for the rest of their life, and some people get married faster than others, and then marriage starts to change the dynamic of things, because now you're putting your partner as your partner starts to become an important figure in your life. And when people are married, it changes the whole dynamic of friendships. You can't do the same things that you were doing when you were single when you're married. It's also the same thing as far as like when you're in a relationship. It's kind of different when you're married. There are a lot of stronger ties when you're married. A lot of things come with marriage. It's different than relationships. With relationships, you can just get up and leave if you really want to, because there's really no ties there, in the sense that with marriage there's paperwork, there's all things involved, so it's a little bit harder to just get up and move and do whatever it is that you want to do. And I think this starts to create a challenge with people, because some people are just not at that phase in their life yet, and they still want the person that they were with before. But in all actuality, things are changing. People are in different forms of their life, and who they were before is not who they are currently. And I think that might be hard for some people to understand, and that's where the challenge comes, where it's like, okay, maybe we are outgrowing each other. And it's not a horrible thing, but it's just understanding that who we were before is not who we are now, and we will start to develop friendships in other areas. The person you were and the space you were in when you started the friendship could look like polar opposites compared to who you are now and the responsibilities that you carry, right? Like I've said before, just because we were friends in high school and we were doing all these crazy things doesn't mean that we're going to be exactly those friends when we get to college, or so on and so forth. Who I am when I finish high school and I start to develop a career, now I need to start showing up in different spaces, is going to be way different than how we were when we were just kikiing when we were in high school, right? And I think for some people that might be hard, because that's where a lot of people start to become defensive, and they feel like people feel like they're better than them, or whatever the case is. But that's not necessarily true. Some people grow up faster than others, and that doesn't mean to seem like a slight, but it's more so on the fact that there are people that grow faster than others, in the sense that the person that they were when they were in high school is different than who they are as an adult, because they're starting to realize that their career matters. Who they align themselves with matters, and you start to see that a lot of your opportunities are based on who you are and who you're associated with. And if your friends haven't, not necessarily, maybe not grown up, but if they haven't even reached that part in their lives, it's going to be hard and it's going to be challenging, because you understand the importance of the spaces that you're in. But if the people that you align with yourself are not in that part, that's when you kind of have to make that decision. Like, is this someone I can truly be friends with? Or is it more so like we need to create boundaries? I can only hang out with you in certain points, and then there are certain people that I have, certain friends that I developed through my career. So, that's not to say that relationships that / the friendships were not beneficial on your journey, but all friendships were formed over the years, were meant to teach you something and to bring you value to your life in one way or another. Just because you part ways with someone doesn't mean that your friendship was not important at one point in your life. Just because you outgrow someone does not mean that you must forget about all the positive things. That's something to remember too. Just because the person that you were friends with before is not the same and you guys are outgrowing each other doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't something that was needed in your life. You don't know why people are put into your life until after the fact, and then you start to realize there are certain points where there are people in your life that are there to provide you support, people there to teach you things. People are there to pull you out of your comfort zone. Everybody is in your life for a certain reason. And sometimes those friendships are there to teach you lessons, or for you to just simply appreciate why they were there. That also doesn't mean that, just because you're not friends doesn't mean that the things that happen you have to forget about. You're always going to have those memories. And this is why certain people have certain friends in certain categories, right? They'll have friends that are work friends. They'll have friends that are my childhood friends. They'll have friends that are, part of my career. They'll have friends that are for certain things. And that's just how it goes. As you get older, you start to see that the friends that you had for support are not the same friends that you're going to have to do certain career things with. The friends that you have to do career things with, you're probably not going to do personal things with, right? And that's normal. As an adult, you start to make this shift and try to see who's going to be in what category. And certain ones of your friendships probably won't fit in any of those categories. And I think that's where you start to analyze and try to figure out, is this friendship really beneficial to me? What am I really gaining from this? Or was this just a point in time where I really needed this person, and now, things have changed and it's not the same that it was before, and that's okay. And the friendships that I do develop now will be so beneficial for me because I have now grown into the person that I want to be, or I'm continuing to grow. And so I'm appreciating the people that are coming into my life because everyone is coming in for a certain reason, right? So we can't hold ourselves back because we feel bad for moving on in our lives. This is not something to ever feel bad about. Changing relationships doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that you're growing. I would hate that somebody continues to live the life that they've been living since they were in their 20s and now they're in their 50s or their 40s or whatever the case is. You change. And that is the point to why you want to go out and explore, and you want to do certain things and be a part of different stuff so that you can grow these different friendships and that you can develop these meaningful people that are in your life and these meaningful experiences, because you've taken the time to grow and move forward in your life and not be stagnant. That's the last thing that you want to do, is feel stagnant and not feel like you have challenged yourself in any way and have created new experiences for yourself, right? So outgrowing people is normal. It's not a bad thing. It's things that happen. I'm more so here to let you know that it's okay, help you understand why it happens, maybe some signs so you can see if this is currently happening to you now, and then what to do after the fact, because you might not know how to react, or maybe you do and you're just afraid of what's going to happen. And being afraid is okay, but you don't want to, like I've said before, stay stagnant and feel bad for letting go of these friendships, right? So that brings me into, why do we outgrow friendships, right? I think for some people it's hard to understand, because one minute you're laughing and you're having fun with the people that are in your life, and then all of a sudden you start figuring out who you are as a person and what you want to do in life and the career you want to build and the life you want to build, and then you start doing these things, especially after high school. You're now an adult and you don't have someone over you making the choices of where you can go, what you can do. You're a young adult and you can make the option of going to college or doing this or doing that, but sometimes those same people that you had during those times when you were younger are not going to follow you down that same path. And you have to realize too that that's okay too, because that person also has to figure out what they want to do in life. And the last thing that you want to do is hold yourself back because you feel bad because this person hasn't established what they want to do in life yet, but you know what you want to do, right? Because now you're just holding yourself back for somebody else, which isn't fair for you. So why do we outgrow friendships, right? A common reason why people may outgrow friendship is that the things that they once bonded over are no longer strong enough or present to keep the friendship growing. I've seen this a lot in people who they don't like partying anymore. Their friends are still going out partying. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a certain lifestyle. If you're the life of the party and that's what you like to do, and you're able to still maintain your life and still go out and party and do what you got to do, that's fine. But your friend that used to do that a couple months ago might not want to do that anymore, because not necessarily that they've grown, but they're just not into it anymore. Like, I know for me, when I was in college, that was a big thing, going out at night, coming back late, but still being able to do your classes and work and do all of that. Now, I mean, I'm not that old, but I can feel the effects of staying up late. I don't have not the energy, but I don't have same mentality of wanting to go to the club. Like, it's just not something that's in my mindset of having fun. My definition of fun is completely different from what it was when I was in college. And that's what we tend to see happen with friendships, is that what you enjoyed at that time is not the same thing that you're enjoying now. And some of your friends might still enjoy that, but it's not something that you guys can still bond over because you don't have the same feeling like you did in the past, right? We are all progressing at different levels and different speeds. Like I said before, you might go away for college and you have a plan in your head of what you want to do for your future and what career you want to go to. A lot of people, when they go to college, they have some people, not a lot of people, some people might have a plan. When they go to college, they know exactly what they want to study in. They know what school they want to go to. They know exactly where they want to work afterwards. But if your friend hasn't decided and they don't know what they're doing, or if they're the type of person who wants to go to a trade school and do that, you guys are going to be on two different lives. So you guys are growing at different speeds. You know, this person might be a little lax, they're able to just chill out and do what they got to do, but for you, you've always been the type of person that's prepared, and your family has always prepared you to start going to college and start looking at what your career is going to be. And so this creates a thing of outgrowing your friendships. You guys are on different paths, different levels, different speeds, so you're not going to be the same like you were before, right? Another thing is outgrowing friendships can also feel like worse than breaking up with a partner, right? And that's because of the lack of clarity and closure. We are taught to have tough conversations, or scratch that. We aren't taught to have tough conversations and set boundaries and potentially even end a friendship. And this is so true. Like when you're younger and you learn about creating friendships as a kid, no one ever talks to you about what happens when you and your friend are not where you used to be. What happens when one person changes, and not even like it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. You know, what if one person changes and you guys just don't like the same thing anymore? And now you guys have to have that tough conversation of, you know, we're not where we were before. You're not the same person. I'm not the same person, right? It's not a bad thing, but we're just not able to bond over the things that we used to bond over before. And it seems as if, you know, now we are trying to figure out, why isn't this thing working? And it seems as if we're trying to force something that's not even there. It seems like a lot of times people want to keep that friendship there because they feel as if, you know, what am I going to do without this person? This person has always been here all my life. You know, I don't see that being something different. And so we're never really taught those conversations of, you know, same thing with a breakup. Nobody ever teaches you how to get through a breakup, how to talk about a breakup, you know, how to have those conversations. You just end up one day liking someone, you get into a relationship, and then it doesn't work out, and now you kind of have to navigate those feelings and have those tough conversations. And the same thing with friendships. It's the same thing. This person is super close to you, it's someone that you've created a bond with, and now all of a sudden you guys are growing apart from each other, and you have to have these tough conversations and, you know, set up boundaries. And a lot of these things can end friendships. And we have to understand that it's okay, and it's going to be a tough conversation. We have to realize that things are happening, things are ever evolving, and we're never going to get better with it unless we try. You can't hold on to a friendship because you're too afraid to have that conversation with your friend or to set up boundaries with them. You know, it's the same thing like staying in a relationship and nothing is ever set, and people are just doing whatever they want and they're pretending like things are good, but they're really not. It's the same thing with friendships. You can't hold on to a friendship when you know that you two are not where you used to be. So having those tough conversations are very important. As you get older, your mind starts changing. You start to have a shift. This might not happen with all people. This might happen later for some people. This might happen sooner for some people. But there definitely is a shift as you get older and you go through a lot of experiences. You start to realize what is it that you want in life, what you don't want in life. And a lot of times the people that you aligned yourself with before might not have that same thought process. And this is where the challenging part comes with, you know, these are people that I'm going to have around me, and are they going to be able to coexist with me in this new space that I'm in? And if they can't, you know, how do we have that conversation of understanding that our friendships are changing, and, you know, we might not spend the same time like we did before because I have people in my life now that kind of have the same similar interests as me, or we're just not in the same area like we were before too, and we have to learn to accept that. You know, we might not necessarily have developed new friendships and now all of a sudden we have to have the conversation with our friends, but it's more so that we are growing as a person and we've taken that work within ourselves, and the people that we were aligning ourselves with before don't align with the things that we are doing now. And that's, you know, perfectly okay. We just have to learn how to deal with those emotions and understand that everything is going to be okay after that, and not feel like the friendship or the relationship or the bond was a waste, right? We always get something out of it. You know, it could just be a lesson. It could just be something that we gained, but it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever it is that we went through with this person was not necessary, right? So now we get into, what are the signs that you're outgrowing someone, right? If there is someone in your life that tries to belittle your success due to their own insecurities, or put down your accomplishments because they cannot see your vision for your life, maybe it's best that you start to distance yourself from anything or anyone that brings you negativity. And this is a big part because, again, you might develop things a little bit faster than your friends, or you might get certain opportunities that your friend might not get just based off of who you are as a person, your work ethic, the experiences that you put yourself in, things like that, right? The last thing that you want is to have someone around you that's not going to be your supporter, who is not going to be there to celebrate your accomplishments with you because they're jealous. They feel some type of way, even if they don't say it. Sometimes you can feel the energy from someone, or even with the actions that they have. You can clearly see when there's someone there to support you, or when there's someone there who's truly just not there for you and always has something negative to say, right? So this might be a sign that you're outgrowing someone, right? This person is clearly not here for you. They're clearly not wanting to be in your corner because they truly support you. It sounds as if they are a bit jealous. They haven't done a lot of work within themselves, and it's a very tough battle for them to understand that their friend is growing and their friend is building a life for themselves, and they're just not aligned with it. And those are the type of people that, okay, maybe this is a sign that I gotta move myself away from this person. Another thing would be the conversation feels forced between the two of you, right? While the conversation used to be easygoing and fluent before, it feels awkward and it feels odd. This is a big one to notice too. If you are not able to have the same conversations, or the energy around the two of you is not the same like it was before, I think that's another sign, right? It's the same thing like in relationships. If you and your significant other are not who you used to be, you got the bond is not as strong as it was before, it's kind of like taking a look back, like, maybe something has changed. And I think we have to figure out, where is that change? Is it something that we can fix? Or is this a matter of we're just not the same where we were? And we've seen before too, like, there are people that outgrow each other in relationships too, especially if you've been together for a very long time. Like I've said before, who you were as a young adult is not the same who you are as an adult, as you get into your older stages in life. And sometimes this is where we see a lot of people will start to outgrow each other, because you've been through enough experiences where you kind of figure out what you want to deal with and what you don't want to deal with. So, once you notice that the energy has shifted and the conversations are not as smooth going as they were before, that's another sign to show you that, okay, maybe me and this person are just not where we used to be before, and that's, completely fine, but we have to acknowledge that. Another thing would be you make excuses or feel uncomfortable when they try to make plans with you. You feel apathy towards hanging out with them, or activities that used to be enjoyable now feel boring. If you are feeling like hanging out with this person is a burden, or the activities that this person wants to do is not what it was before, then that might be a sign that you and this person are just not the friends that you were before. And again, that's okay, but you have to acknowledge it. Don't go and make yourself stay around someone, or even make the person feel like you want to be there when you really don't. Stop putting yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in because you feel bad, or you don't want to deal with what's actually happening. You want to keep whatever it is that's going on in your head and the friendship that you had with this person, but not accepting reality that you guys are just not what you used to be. And you have to learn that we might have to have this conversation that, we are changing, our friendship is not the same, and that's okay, but we have to at least acknowledge it and figure out, okay, maybe there's some steps that we need to take. And the activity that we enjoyed before is just not something that you're interested in, and that's okay. Another thing would be you restrain yourself from sharing personal or professional accomplishments. You feel guilty about sharing good news about your job because you feel like they won't relate or they won't understand. This is a big thing. You and your friend are not going to necessarily be in the same careers. I mean, there are some people who are able to have friends that have the same interests. They build a business together and, they create great bonds. But this isn't necessarily true for everyone. just because you and your friend enjoyed doing hair when you were younger doesn't necessarily mean that you're both are going to go into cosmetology. You might go into cosmetology, but the other person might go into something else completely different. And if you feel bad sharing your personal or professional accomplishments because you're worried about how they're going to feel, or just in general, this is where you should definitely take a step back. Like, can me and this person still be friends? Because why do I need to hold myself back from being happy and sharing, exciting news with someone because I feel bad on how they're gonna take it? If you are my friend and you're someone that is close to me, you should be able to feel happy for me, and it shouldn't feel like a threat if I am sharing my personal and professional accomplishments with you, right? This is something that I'm genuinely happy about, and the one person that I want to call is you. But if you're not able to receive that from me, then that's where you start to analyze, okay, maybe we've outgrown each other and what we had before is just not the same. And that's okay, but it's better to realize that than to keep forcing something and having to hold back your happiness and who you want to share it with because you feel bad or you feel guilty on how the person is going to react, right? This is another sign where it's kind of like, let me figure out what is going on and figure out if this person is truly in my corner to support me, or if it's something else that I need to analyze and try to figure out, do I still want to be around this person? And the next thing is you feel you're on different pages. You find it difficult to relate and connect with what each of you is doing because you have different priorities and values that don't align anymore. Like I said before, if you're the type of person who, let's just say, you're the type of person who's easygoing, you and your friend just did whatever, you go out and party, you hang out, you do things for fun, and then you guys grow up and you go in different directions, in the sense that one person goes to college here, one goes to college there, whatever the case is, and one of you starts to become religious, and religion starts to play a big part in your life that it didn't before because of whatever it is that you went through. You were appreciative of how religion played a big part in your life and is very supportive. So now your values have changed, right? You start to align yourself with what is going on with religion and how it can benefit you. But your friend is not the same. Not to say that they don't care about religion, but it doesn't play a big factor in their life. And this is where your values and your priorities are different. And this is how you have to, again, analyze your friendship. Is this person the same person I can hang out with and they won't feel bad because I don't want to do the same thing that they want to do because my values have now changed? What if I had an issue with alcohol in the past and they weren't around, and now they want to go drinking and want to do this and want to do that, but I don't drink anymore, and alcohol is just not a good thing in my life. They have to understand that because you're my friend, I would hope that you understand this and we can create boundaries in our friendship. But if you can't understand that and I can't establish this boundary with you, that's where we start to outgrow each other, and we have to figure out, can we continue this friendship, or is it something where we have to separate? And the last thing would be, you find yourself constantly picking fights for the smallest things. Everything, no matter how small, seems to be something that starts a fight between the two of you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but everything that I've listed before this all sounds like the same thing as being in a relationship, because friendships are like relationships, right? That's why they hurt just as much or even more. But going back to what I said, constantly picking fights for the smallest thing. If every time you're on the phone or when you hang out, you guys are always constantly getting in an argument and you guys can't enjoy the time with each other, it's the same thing like relationships. If the relationship isn't fun, why am I here? Relationships are not all about going through all these different trials and tribulations. Like, of course, yes, you're gonna go through difficult times, things are going to happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to constantly fight all the time. We're always going to be bumping heads. Like, no, there has to be some type of revelation when you guys are talking with each other, and I don't want to say revelation. There has to be a balance in the friendship. Of course, you're going to have arguments with your friends and things are going to happen, but I don't want that to be the cusp of your friendship, right? You want to make sure that you guys are able to communicate, have disagreements, but also get back to where you were and be okay with the fact that you're not always going to agree on things, right? So yes, you guys are going to fight, but that shouldn't be every single day when you're meeting up with each other. That is when you start to realize, okay, maybe me and this person are just not on the same wavelength, and we got to figure out this friendship and figure out if it's something we want to keep putting energy to or if it's something we want to move on from. And so this brings me into the last part of, how do we move forward? What do we do when we realize, okay, I figured out what that means to outgrow people. I realized that some of these signs that I've said are something that is happening to me right now. Now, what do I do with it? How do I figure this out, right? So it's important to reflect on the energy and the people around us, right? Assessing whether the friendship needs to end or its closeness needs to be recalibrated. It may look like stepping back and forming new boundaries that maintain both the friendship and your well-being. So when I say outgrowing friendship, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut off your friends, completely end ties or whatever the case is. That might be the case for some people, but it might not be the case for every single person. There might be instances where you guys outgrow each other, but you can set up boundaries in your friendship so that you guys know, okay, this person needs to be treated this way. We're not able to do this and that from the time that we were able to do before, but, we can still maintain this friendship, right? Or is it a matter of looking back at the friendship and trying to figure out, me and this person are not as close as we were before. And it seems as if we can't share personal, situations and life things with, but I still enjoy talking to them. We can still have fun in certain areas, but there are certain things that we're just not going to be, doing the things that we were doing before. And that's okay. This is just a matter of taking a step back, looking at it, figuring out if it's a boundary that we need to set up, or do we just need to end the friendship completely. The next thing would be, we need to be surrounding ourselves with people who congratulate our steps in the right direction, not because we need to be praised, but because support from one another will go so much further than bringing each other down. This is like I've said before, you don't want someone that you're going to keep arguing with. You don't want someone where you have to restrain yourself from, sharing your personal and professional accomplishments. You don't want someone making you feel uncomfortable. You just want people around you that are going to make you feel good. No matter what it is that you're going through, they are there to be able to support you, and they are there to be able to help you. But if I have to pull back on certain things that I'm saying, I'm not able to share certain things, or you're just negative all around me, then that's probably not the person that you want around you, right? So again, you have to look at what's around you and understand that, is this person truly supporting me, or were they once doing that, but because they're not moving in their life and I am, that they feel some type of way? Or is it just a matter of the fact that they're just not doing well in their life, and what I'm doing in my life they just don't align with, and we just aren't friends anymore? The next thing would be allowing yourself to lovingly detach from dynamics that are no longer serving you. Just because, like I've said before, just because you remove yourself from a friendship, that doesn't invalidate the friendship that was had. The friendship is still there. It's just a matter of now there's a different dynamic in this friendship. We are not as close as we used to be, but I still like you. I still like you as a person. We can hang out when I come home. We can do this, we can do that. But the dynamic of our friendship has changed, and I will, forever cherish the memories that we had. I appreciate the life lessons that we've, been able to get through with each other, but this friendship is no longer serving me. It's no longer providing me anything that's going to be added to my life. It's not adding any value to my life. And every friendship and relation that you had should add some type of value. And it could be something small. It could be a matter of support. It could be a matter of, this is a person that you have the same interests with, and this is the person that you go to. This is the type of person that you have around when you need to go to a concert, because not everybody wants to go to those things. This is the type of person that, you have certain hobbies. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to do anything that's physical, this is the type of person that you will call. um you know like I said before, there are certain people who will have the same career interests as you, and those are the people that you take with you when you want to do stuff that's in regards to your career, whether that's research, whether that's traveling to go to conferences, different stuff. There are going to be different people in your life that you share different experiences with, and allowing yourself to detach yourself from dynamics that are no longer serving you is going to be beneficial for you and for your life. And then you can understand that you are able to put people in different categories, and that's okay. The last thing would be, with people that are meant to be in your life, it will be a mutual give and take kind of relationship that will be filled with support, growth, challenges, and resolutions. The only friendships and relationships that you should want to keep around are the ones that inspire you to be better than the you that you are right now. Any friendship that you have in your life, any relationship that you have in your life, is going to have ups and downs. You're going to have people that support you. I would hope that these people in your life are ever growing with you. They're challenging you, but you can also get a resolution because you guys are able to talk about things. This is how a healthy relationship and friendship is. You're able to support each other. You're able to grow with each other. You're able to challenge each other, and it's not taken as a slight. And you're also able to have these resolutions and have these conversations to understand, okay, we did have a difference, but let me understand where you're coming from, and you can understand where I'm coming from, so that moving forward, we know how to approach each other when it comes to those specific circumstances, right? So when it comes to moving forward, we have to understand that we have to analyze our friendships. We need to reflect on the energy and the people that are around us and figure out, okay, is this a good dynamic for us? Is this something that is, supporting us? Is this something that we have to, challenge and figure out what's going on? And then essentially trying to figure out, do we need to have these hard conversations? And, are these conversations going to help us in the long run? And stop running away from the feeling that we're having, and understanding that these people that are in our life are not going to be in our lives forever. And there might be some people that are, but understanding that who you were when you were younger is not who you're going to be as you get older, and that's okay. And certain people are going to leave, certain people are going to come and go, some people are going to are here to stay. But stop trying to keep things around you that are no longer serving you, because it's not beneficial for you, and it's hurting you, and it's also hurting the other person. And sometimes it's best to just let people go and let them figure out, what the dynamic is going to be for them at the end of the day, right? So as we end the video, I just want to do a little recap here. Outgrowing friendship is normal, right? It's very, very hard. It's hard to accept, but it's something that's part of our journey, and it's something that is okay. We are going to outgrow people. We're going to evolve, and the friendships that we have around us and the relationships that we have around us are going to change, and that is normal, right? Why we outgrow friendships might be different for certain people, but understand that it's completely normal, and it's something that everybody goes through. There are different signs for you to see why you're outgrowing friendships, and this is going to take a lot for you to just sit down and try to figure out, is this something that I want to align myself with, or is it something that I need to create boundaries with, or is it something for me to let go, right? And understand that it's okay, and you're going to move forward, and you just have to take the right steps for yourself, and understand that you're going to be okay when you do decide to make that step. But keeping things in your life that are no longer serving you are not beneficial for you or for that person, right? So I just want to thank you guys for watching another video. I will continue to put the content out. Please join in on the conversation. Let me guys know if you have any comments, questions in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.